everything that I know says I gotta go, tired of going solo. But I'm never gonna go there again. This is what it is, this is who I am, this is where I finally take my stand. I didn't wanna go, but I don't have to grow. I'm not the one with two scar hands, giving him the best of everything that's left of the life inside this man. I've been born again.
All right. Oh, man. The show has been born again today.
A few times.
A few times, yeah. Oh, my. Yeah, that one had a few aborts trying to get off the ground for some reason here. You know what? It's your fault.
Yeah.
You know, hey.
If you know what we're talking about, go to Facebook, catch the raw feed.
Yeah, really. You Facebook friends, you got to catch this early. No, it's fine. You know, but see, this makes it real. This lets you know that we are real. We're not hiding anything from you all. And this is great. I'm Eddie. This is Dave. And Dave, you want to introduce?
We have a special guest. Documentary filmmaker Kevin Batts from Oklahoma City.
Yeah, good to be with you guys.
Red River TV.
Red River TV, yes. Red River TV.
All right. Now, I know you way back 8-9 years ago, Red River Chronicles.
Yeah, Red River Chronicles.
Started with the blog.
Yeah, we were a blog, and we loved writing. Me and my wife, we were both writers, and we wrote about a lot of different issues going on around Oklahoma and in Texas, and wrote some pretty big stories about corruption going on in government. And we built up a large network of different sources and stuff, and people that will go on the, off the record and tell us information about different kinds of corruption going on in different matters, and we'd report on it. And then whenever social media started favoring video, we moved over to video. And my wife told me, said, I'm not going to shoot a video, any kind of video with you unless it is good. Mm-hmm. And so I had to get good, as they say. And over time, I've developed my skills and got better and better. And we've developed our delivery to the point now where we're doing documentaries.
Yeah. And you and Janelle, photogenic, you're well polished. I can't imagine how many takes it sometimes requires. But,
sometimes none, sometimes a whole bunch.
Yeah. But you guys communicate with genuineness, honesty, and really clarity. Yeah. I think that's what's been the hallmark. And last night I was at a birthday party for my granddaughter. Well, daughter-in-law has a friend who is a court clerk in Wagoner County.
Oh, okay.
And I brought up, I said, I'm interviewing a guy who did a documentary on the Wooley case. She says, I heard about that documentary. So they're talking about you.
Trust me, we made sure that a lot of the staff in Wagoner County that work in government have this story, and they are able to watch this story for free. So if you are in Wagoner County and you'd like to watch this, and you are in government and you want to watch this for free, reach out to me. Go to my website, Red River Media Creative or Red River Creative Media, and we'll definitely get you a free view so you can be aware of what's going on.
Yeah, and I spent a lot of last night prepping for today's show, watching the documentary. I asked a lot of questions, and I'll just tell you right now, this friend that was at my granddaughter's birthday party, I'm not going to tell you what she said because she's got to work there. And you know what it is in, small town, rural justice systems.
Yeah.
It can
small town justice can be brutal.
Brutal.
We like to say, the people always looking for the stories in Oklahoma and Tulsa, Oklahoma City and Tulsa and the big cities. They think that the big corruption goes on there. Yeah, there's big corruption there. But you go to any small town, you lift up any rock, you're going to find corruption.
Yeah.
Because these small town governments, they kind of operate under their own system sometimes, and we got to expose that.
Yeah. Now, Eddie and I often talk about some criminal justice inequities going on. And we support law enforcement. We support a civil society, but not a tyranny. You decided to take on a case. First of all, I'd like you to introduce this case to us and why you decided to take this on.
Well, I would say probably
what are we talking about?
2 years ago, I was approached by a friend who lives in Wagoner County, and he told me this story about a family. Their names are the Wooleys, and he told me that the Wooleys were wrongfully accused of murdering their grandson and molesting their grandson, their grandfather. Grandson. Yeah, another grandson. And they had one of their grandsons died of SIDS at night. SIDS, sudden infant death. Yeah, sudden infant death syndrome. Mm-hmm. And the other grandson was taken by DHS. And
immediately, right?
Yeah, immediately. And this started a whirlwind of them being given 16 different felonies over the next ensuing years, mm-hmm. and spending over, I'd say, a couple $1 million, defending themselves. And when it all said and done, having 5 different experts, one of them an expert for the state of Oklahoma, come out on their side and say there is absolutely nothing here. And the only way you would come to this conclusion is if you made it up. Okay. That was essentially their conclusion. There is nothing here. So after that, they go back to DHS and they say, hey, can we get our grandson back? Because you guys took him and now we are essentially we have nothing against us as far as the government's concerned. Right. And DHS tells them, and this is all just me simplifying this, but DHS essentially tells them, we don't recognize your innocence. Exactly. So we're going to keep the kid. And that's how it's going to be.
No due process of law.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Family.
Yeah.
They take their family.
Yeah.
And now that child, that 5 years old at the time, now 10, right?
Yeah, he's 10 years old now.
Now belongs to the state. Yeah. And we know the state's better parents because we see all the foster kids that come through, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But now, before we go any further, tell us, and we'll talk about this at the end, where can people watch your documentary?
Right. They can watch it at savingclayton.com. You can go to savingclayton.com. You go there and you can watch the trailer. You can also watch the movie. I think we have it on there for like $13 right now or something like that.
Gotcha. Somebody's got to pay for this.
Yeah, somebody's got to pay for it.
2 years.
We spent almost 2 years developing this, mm-hmm. and I'd say we spent countless hours. This is me and my wife's ministry. And like I tell people, we'll be lucky to break even with this project, but if we can figure out a way to break even with this one, we know with the next ones, we'll be able to fund even bigger and more investigative stories into Oklahoma stories. This is about telling Oklahoma stories. So stories about corruption, stories about positive things, great things that are going on. So we have a lot of stories we're going to be bringing out, but we have to be able to build a kingdom economy around this kind of industry. Otherwise, these things aren't going to happen. Were you going to say something, Eddie?
No.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, I did want to ask a question. So where's Clayton now?
Clayton is.
We said the state, but he's been in foster care.
He's in foster care. He's with his family. He's with the dad. One of their family members has him.
Okay, so do they have any visitation rights? Do they get to see him?
They have nothing.
They can't see him at all.
They have nothing.
They've been threatened with sanctions if they try to even write a letter.
Let's bring this into perspective.
Yeah. Okay.
The mother doesn't even have visitation. Now, if you are a person, and this happens to a lot of women, DHS has this thing called putting the kid with the family first, the closest of kin. So stable family. Yeah. So when you have a situation where someone's convicted or they're going through a court case of like a horrendous crime, like say a woman murders a person and she's in jail and she's addicted to drugs and everything's bad, she'll still get to see her kids. DHS will make sure she gets to see her kids. Mm-hmm. And if you're homeless, you're a homeless person and your kids get taken away by DHS, they'll set up places where you can go as a homeless person, roll your little shopping cart up and go see your kids on certain days. So they'll do that they do this all the time. This is a normal thing. So it's strange that a mom who doesn't even live in the household and has nothing to, is not, like living with her parents or anything like that. Why does she get to fall into these special circumstances where she doesn't even get to see her son?
And she's not been convicted of anything.
No, not convicted or anything. No, only thing that happened to her, she didn't charged with anything. Well, the grandparents are the ones that were charged with murder, a bunch of other stuff, 16 different felonies, like I said, all the things you could think of. And the mom she didn't have custody of the two sons because when she was in her teens, she had a chipped tooth and she was prescribed opioids, and she took them, for like a week. She got hooked, and so she dealt with drug abuse after that. Well, she's been clean for probably 5-6 years. Drug test, everything else.
Go further into that. The day of her little baby's death, the younger of the two, not Clayton, but
Elijah.
Sibling, she was on staff at Teen Challenge, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So she cleaned up.
And she was a leader.
And vouched for by Teen Challenge themselves, says we draw on her expertise and her stability.
Yeah.
So this was a family that had really overcome a lot by pulling together.
So is this the case that Kevin Adams was involved in?
I don't believe this was one of them.
But that was another Wagoner County case that Kevin, there was one when he was here, he was dealing with a case down in Wagoner County as well.
Yeah, and then he had one out there in Cherokee County that he was working on too.
But, okay.
We see a lot of this in Wagoner County. So, this is a pattern.
Oh, but I should say, the common denominator in those counties is the same DA, Jack Thorpe.
Yeah.
See, that's why I'm trying to figure out what's going on there. And now, I hate to say this, but I've found the case to be too many times. In other words, did this mom have the right amount of money to pay the right attorneys? She would have that kid back.
Well, the thing that we see when we've interviewed a lot of other families behind the scenes and talked to a lot of people is the throughput of DHS in Oklahoma is they want to have certain outcomes. And from what I was made to understand a few years ago was that they were under a consent decree from the federal government, or they still are, one of the two, where they have to meet certain outcomes. So at the top, it's like a cake. I tell people all the time, it's like a cake.
Are you saying there's a quota they have to meet?
I mean, you could call it a quota, but if you build a maze in a certain way to where there's always a certain outcome, more likely than not, unless you're rich and you can go through those little trap doors and stuff. So at the top, you have a governing apparatus that has to meet certain outcomes. Then below that, you have incompetence and ineptitude, and a huge bureaucracy like DHS. Then below that, you have the incestuous relationships between these DAs, prosecutors, and law enforcement and DHS, where their main goal is to take the kids away, to use them as leverage to try to get criminals or so-called accused people to admit to crimes and things like that. And so when you put this whole layer together, you build this huge quagmire where, there's good people in it. There are people with good intent, but there's also a system in place where it's tilted towards that ball of justice rolling towards the bad side of it.
Yeah. Blood boil, Eddie.
It's heavy, man. It's a heavy thing. But we are happy warriors.
About Joe Biden.
Yeah. Well, Joe Biden is the least of our warriors in our state when it comes to stuff like this.
It brings it back home. It shows us that we can be so focused over here that we've got our own issues over here. And
what we see,
it's sad. It's sad. I mean, really. Yeah. That's now. Let me ask you this, Kevin, about your own situation and what you're doing. Have you attempted to sell this story to a larger venue?
You are the first person to ask that question. That is a fantastic question.
I am. No, you're kidding.
Yeah, very first person.
I'm the first person
that has asked
that
no one's ever asked us that. And, okay, I have a tiny story, and then I have the answer to your question.
Okay.
The tiny story is, we've had nothing but problems with distribution of this story, and I don't know what it's about. All I can tell you is that, me and my wife and, my business partner, Miles, we are outwardly conservative. We are all three people of color, and we are all outwardly Christian conservative and stalwarts in our beliefs. But when it comes to stories like this, we say this is non-political. Everybody wants justice. Everyone's, they want justice. So we put this out to license it to YouTube, to Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime takes everything. They're just they're licensed. They license everything. You can send videos into them as long as all your stuff's straight and it's not no crazy stuff, like big lies and stuff like that. They'll take anything and they'll sell it. Amazon sells anything.
But you're a black man defending a white man. There's something wrong with that.
Yeah, but there may be a bigger problem. You're kind of in no man's land.
So
you're the black conservative.
So when we put this up to license with Amazon Prime, because we built everything around like this is going to be an Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Come get it, come rent it. So when we put it in for that, we're like, dang, this is taking a while to come back. Usually it takes about a week, almost 2 weeks. Why doesn't it come back?
Created a problem.
And they sent us an email back and they said, we not only are we not going to put this movie up, we're not going to tell you why, and you cannot appeal, and you can never submit a movie like this again to us. And so I took that to mean we have been effectively banned from Amazon, insta-banned, and we've never done anything with them. I mean,
lifetime ban.
I don't know. I don't know if we can submit other stuff.
Sounds like it to
now,
me.
we've talked to other outfits, more powerful, like movie producers and stuff like that, who do Christian documentaries and stuff like that, and they're on Amazon. So we're going to try to work with them to figure out the question of how do we figure out the distribution for Red River Media? Because if we can't figure out the distribution for our documentaries, because right now, it's on Locals, and Locals is Dave Rubin. He's on The Blaze. It's his thing. And it's not really a good fit for us, because really what we're looking for is we're looking for something where people don't want to be jumping through hoops. They don't want to be going to some website they've never been to before, getting some app they never had before. Everybody has Amazon. Yeah. They understand that. Or we need a simpler method.
Netflix,
and we've had some problems. So right. We're going to try to talk to some of these folks that are a lot bigger than us, and we're going to try to say, what does distribution look like, us teaming up to do distribution? Maybe we can figure out a way to license it where we do some profit sharing or something. I don't know what that looks like. But, I mean, if you are a person involved in the business and you're not some scummy Hollywood type, because we don't get involved with those, but we would definitely like to have the conversation about distribution and licensing, because we do need that wave of a big media company. You see you see companies like The Blaze, you see Daily Wire, hundreds of millions of dollars they're making. They're bringing in a lot of money, and more power to them. But, when do we leverage that to pull up those newcomers that are coming up, in the wings like Red River Media? If it's just going to be about we have our own thing going on and we've bypassed the social media censorship, but everyone beneath us, they have to deal with that and they don't get to grow. The next generation of media doesn't get to rise up.
Right.
Imagine the Eddie Huffs, the young Eddie Huffs, and their mommy's little bassinet sucking on their binkies, forming their knowledge of being the next, radio personality or media personality, not getting to grow because somebody somewhere in California decided these are the kind of things I don't want people to know about. And this is the public square. This is the arena that we're in. So if we can't compete, be artificially being suppressed, how are we going to tell these stories that are non-political?
Yeah.
Non-political stories.
Oh, but that's a bit naive to say it's not.
Well, that's true. Everything's political.
Yeah.
And somewhere politics got involved in this.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to remember, the same person who founded Amazon also owns the Washington Post. What is their narrative? Everything about the white man bad.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And here you are, you and Janelle, classic African-American ethnicity, and you're defending a Christian white man.
Oh, my
Christian
gosh,
family.
The worst.
An intact, multi-generational, close-knit.
Right. But here's the rub. Okay. He can't go to BET.
Yeah.
Because BET, he's a black conservative.
Yeah.
Which is worse.
He ain't black.
And the thing is, this is what I tell people too.
This is what's sad. I mean, really,
it is.
It's a sad situation that, as he says, in essence, you and your wife aren't black. to the black liberal.
Think about it like this, though. I have the flip. I have the opposite narrative on this. I told my wife this. I was like, who have we made most of our documentaries about? Who have we made most of our hit pieces about? Who have we? Republicans. Where's the left at on this? I mean, we're the biggest. They could glom onto this story. Who are the main antagonists in our story of the Wooley documentary? Republicans, elected Republican sheriff and elected Republican DA. Why wouldn't they glom onto this? Where is the left in this? They should be telling this story. This is in their backyard. Tulsa's the home of the left in Oklahoma. Why don't they tell this story and get their big money behind it?
Who's controlled state government agencies since 2010? Republican administrations. Here we are in our 13th year of this since 2010, Mary Fallon.
Yeah.
Right? And right now, DHS is the biggest hurdle in the way.
Yeah.
Because essentially, Jack Thorpe, the DA, has declared victory, got out of Vietnam, still believes that they're guilty. He just can't find any legal maneuver. And he's even cheating, lying, and making up new law so he can get around statute of limitations. Right? I mean, that's something Steve Money said.
Yeah.
So it's time to clean house with the state agency. And here's where I want to get at.
Wait, okay, so DHS though, isn't it, it's run with federal money, isn't it?
No, it's a state agency.
It is a state agency. Okay.
They probably got some federal money coming in.
From HHS.
And they probably also have like guidelines that they have to follow to get certain grants and blah, 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 all this stuff.
That's why, this is what bothers me. I think the lines have been blurred. Too many of our state agencies live off the teat, as they call it, of federal funding.
Yeah.
And so they bow down to the cow of D.C. In other HUD, to get, I went through the whole thing with Teddy here, North Tulsa Development. What do you call it? Teddy Development Authority. The North Tulsa Development.
It sounds like a racket.
Well, yeah. And in fact, and of course, this was back under, I guess Bush was still in charge back then, but they took their money away because there were shenanigans going on. Well, since Bush has been gone, there's been no problems. So, but because the right people have been in. But you do it in other words, you do it our way. You do it our way, and then we'll make sure you get your money and so forth. So.
Here's what happens. You look at the grants that you want to write for and get those grants. Yeah. And you look at what they call best practices. We love that term. I know. We can't make it a rule.
I hate that.
But we can, be biased towards you if you don't follow it.
Yeah.
And then they form their whole agency with the direction of meeting the criteria for those federal grants.
Yep.
That's exactly it, Eddie. I think you nailed it there. So this is our problem, though, as a state agency. And by the way, DHS in federal lingo means Department of Homeland Security. So we're talking Department of Human Services, Child Protection, right? Yeah. Okay. So what they, I once said this 25 years ago. It seems common knowledge to everybody, except whose job it is to know, that the number one criteria for child abuse is the single unwed mother with a live-in boyfriend. And the only people that don't buy that are the liberal young professionals that come out of our liberal state colleges. And they want to go after parents that still spank their kids.
Yeah.
That's the narrative they're going after.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the sad thing, again, is I guarantee you if this mother had the money and had the right attorneys, you get some high-powered top attorney in Tulsa, in Oklahoma City, wherever.
You're right on the money.
Boom.
The stories we hear, lower middle class families every single time, white, black, Hispanic, don't matter what it is. They they come at you sideways. They come at you with these accusations. They come at you with all these threats, and then they wait for you to make a mistake. And a lot of people who come from poor households don't know there's a certain way to do things when you're dealing with these agencies. And a lot of times they end up making mistakes when that comes to that, and they use it against them. They take their kids away and they never see them again.
Yeah.
But rich families, we've seen, if you're wealthy and you're politically connected, we've heard stories of predators, people that were caught molesting children by their spouses, getting to keep those children because they were politically connected and wealthy. This is happening in Oklahoma right now.
It is.
It's all over America. I mean, it's happening everywhere.
A friend of mine, blogger Al Gerhardt, wrote a story about an attorney, family practice, divorce attorney, where if he could not get his client primary custody of a kid, they lost that case, they would afterwards then go file a bunch of charges, or not complaints, against the opposing parent and get them under DHS, all kinds of scrutiny, and then their client gets them.
Wow. By
criminalizing. And I think you're right on a number of points. Eddie, a good friend who's a good judge here in Tulsa, I was in her chambers one time, and she said, when it comes to misdemeanors, we, stack them deep and settle them cheap. And if you got a good attorney, you can get a good deal. The unrepresented, though, you're at their mercy because prosecutors are bullies. They pick on those who can't defend themselves.
Yeah. I mean, it is just a total shame that here's a mother who's not been charged, much less convicted, has her child taken away from her. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Yeah. That is ridiculous.
Well, and what they'll tell you is, not to interrupt, I'm sorry, but what they'll tell you is that, she gave up custody in court. Well, what they won't tell you about that story is that, and I'm giving the brief versions of these things because we can't be here for 2 hours, me breaking down how the cow ate the cabbage. But the brief story is she goes to court, and essentially her lawyer, the state, and the judge they basically team up against her and say, you need to sign this paper. You need to sign this paper. Well, I don't know what this paper is. I don't know what it is. I need to read it. I need to have somebody look at it. Oh, you need to sign this. You need to sign this. And this is what's best for Clayton. And basically misleading her. She signs this paper. It turns out when she goes back home and she looks into this paperwork she just signed, it's essentially giving away all of her rights to her son. And so she goes back within the certain day. I guess there's a certain day window you get to amend it or whatever. And so she goes back and starts that process. Nothing but problems. Nothing but problems. And so that's what they'll tell you. These people, they're fast talkers. They got an answer for everything. It's crazy how these folks out in Wagoner County, the DA and the sheriff, have an answer for everything behind the scenes to people that we're dealing with. Lawmakers we tried to get on the record, they went behind our backs and talked to them, fed them a bunch of lies. But when we go out to Wagoner County and all those folks, and we say, we'll meet you under any circumstances. You can bring all the documents you want. We'll let you talk unfettered. And all we have is 2 questions. That's all our side has. Everything else, y'all can rip and run, but crickets. They can't talk to us. Now all of a sudden, we can't talk to you because there's a lawsuit going on. We sent messages to y'all before the lawsuit even happened that y'all could we'd meet under any circumstances. Not only that, you guys plan to meet with Channel 23. I think it's Channel 23 here in Tulsa. You guys said you would meet with them and give them an interview. And then we came sniffing around saying we'll meet under the same circumstances that you said you'll meet with them under. And then you guys cancel with them and you don't even interview with them, but you use the excuse again, there's litigation on the table. Right. Well, how about you meet us after litigation? I don't know. We'll meet anytime. Yeah.
And Clay Looney, who's in your documentary, he was an anchor for years for Fox 23. He said he wouldn't even live in Wagoner County.
Yeah, he wouldn't live
that disgusted.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And this is a classic journalist because Clay, the story comes out, this family, these are the worst people in the world. Oh my gosh. And what does a good journalist do? And what is the first thing I do when I hear a story?
Get both sides.
Yep. I want to know, okay, Well, let's go ask some people. Is this true? You start with the mainstream narrative or whatever that is in your community or whatever's going on. You start from that premise saying, okay, everybody's saying this is this with this topic. What is the counter narrative?
Yeah.
Where can I find the counter narrative? What if we're wrong? And that's where Clay Looney started. And then he pulled that thread. He started pulling and he realized more and more, wait a minute. These people are innocent. None of this stuff is adding up. And he starts his crusade alone in the media in Tulsa, being the only voice that's saying this is wrong. We don't have that kind of media today. The media we have today are just sheep following along in a straight line, not wanting to rock the not wanting to knock over the apple cart.
It sounds like a John Grisham novel.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does.
It really does.
So do they still make people like that today in media? Do you think? Or is it just people are going to read from the script?
Yeah, they do.
But media companies won't hire those people.
Or they're on
or they
a lesser media. You have Newsmax, OAN, and even small.
Or they get permaban from Amazon Prime from putting out their documentary.
Yeah, exactly. You just have to fight your way. You just have to not give up, and eventually believe, and fight, and pray that you don't go bankrupt before you get that breakthrough and somebody hears you get that break. But I think that there are people out there that would come to your side. I think there are people that somebody out there will eventually hear you if you keep knocking and keep wanting to do. See, I think there's a hunger for true journalism still in America. I think there are people that want to honestly. Don't feed us the bull. Yeah, they don't care about Fox 23 or KO TV here. I don't know what the counters are in Oklahoma City. I'm sure it's the same, maybe worse in Oklahoma City. I don't know.
Well, you can't watch it because they don't tell you anything. They start with this is a story out of Oklahoma City.
Well, I got some people I wanted.
Wait. What were you saying?
It's 2 paragraphs. You'll see it in every single time. A couple was arrested today. Their name is some long Chinese name you cannot pronounce. They're not citizens of the United States. They're from another country. They're from China. And they own 6 houses on one block. And we found multiple people in this household that seemed like they were being held against their will. We also found a room full of money. That's it. Nothing else to report. The cops said, see you, son. See you next week. That's the stories you get. They don't dig deeper. They don't say, this is curious. They don't see a story and they're like, wait a minute, what's below the surface of this? No, they just, whatever the statement is from whatever governing agency, they read that statement, they publish it, and then nothing to see here, just moving on. Nothing, don't worry, we don't need to go any deeper, and they find these huge things and they just cover it up through omission. Yeah.
Well, a couple things I want to address and some people particularly. Yeah. Kevin McDougall, state rep for this area. And Eddie, you and I were in a green room of a STIT rally when Kevin was there and announcing that he got a new investigation in the Glossop murder trial, which is in Oklahoma City.
And we worked with him on that.
Okay, now here's the deal. Kevin represents Wagoner County.
Yep.
Okay? He did a great thing in Oklahoma City with that Glossop because there are all kinds of problems with it.
He's been doing some great work with that.
Okay. Kevin, I need you to be a hero for your constituents, all right? That's the first thing I want to say. And then I want to talk to Jack Thorpe. I've had dinner with Jack Thorpe. Jack has been, in many cases, a fine prosecutor in many cases.
How long has he been there?
Oh, I think 5 years. He kind of took over, and then he's run. This might be his second full term he just got elected to. He was unopposed.
Yeah, he ran.
Okay. Jack, to be a good public servant, the first thing that people need from you is humility. To admit that sometimes you're wrong. Because then we can have more confidence in your honesty. But when you never admit you're wrong, you always have someone else say, well, just because I didn't have enough evidence to convict doesn't mean that he's innocent. That's right. That's what.
Go arrest them if you think that they're child rapist murderers. Yeah. Why are you letting them walk free? Okay. What is your problem?
But I think Jack's over his head.
Yeah.
He's over his head.
Yeah.
And without that requisite humility to know it, hey, I don't see a case here that rises to the level of conviction now. Let's drop it and let them resume being upstanding citizens like they've been all their lives. Okay, this is not a family with a long history of criminal involvement.
No, zero.
These are church leaders, right? Layman church leaders.
Yeah.
And so I'm very disappointed because I've always wanted to believe the best in Jack. I no longer have the confidence that Jack can lead in this important role. I think Steve Money, who was in your video, he ran for district judge.
Yeah.
I think that was the wrong office to run for. I think Steve Money should seriously consider challenging Jack Thorpe next term. And yes, I'm calling on you, Steve. Step up, see if you can get a team. I'll help.
Yeah, Steve's a rock star.
All right. So
you laid down the gauntlet just now.
I did. Because listen, I have gone to bat for Jack a lot. And listen, sometimes Jack has come to the rescue of people I knew needed a fair shake. And he has done it. I don't understand all these things.
Yeah, I don't. I've heard outside of this, Jack's been freaking awesome. I hear people really love the guy.
There's other cases. Where
people say he's a really nice guy. I've heard that from a lot of different people. I've heard that he's a good guy to get along with. You can really have a good conversation. I've never talked to him. We've tried to talk to him. We told him, hey, look, we all run Republican circles. We are conservatives. We ain't going to give you the runaround. We're not some big leftist or outfit that's going to cut you up.
Yeah.
We're going to give you a fair shake.
Jack is just like me, you, and you. We all married up. He's got a fine wife, Joy. Was Joy Pittman when I first met her back in her single days, but she's been a great prosecutor.
It was Mohorovich when I met her.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know Joy. Yeah,
just great people to talk to, work through. She's given me some explanations when I couldn't get them for stories I've written. And that these are people who I think want to do right.
Yeah.
Okay. But I just think Jack's in over his head. If he's being owned, if he's being compromised.
I don't think that's what's going on. What I think is going on is they believe it. I think they believe they're guilty.
I think they believe Elliott, the sheriff.
Yeah, I think they believe it.
Because Elliott said, and what was the quote many times? Children don't just die.
Children don't just die.
So
you're wrong, Elliott. Because you need to go along with the science.
Yeah.
Children do die all the time.
Yes.
And if you live in Wagoner County and your child just dies, you might go to prison. So you might want to think about getting out of freaking Wagoner County.
Yeah. And that's another thing. You know, I sat in a court case one time. McDougal was in the courtroom, and Elliott comes over in front of the judge, is patting McDougal on his back. You know, it's one of those greasing the wheels things. Needs to stop.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, sometimes the good old boy system is the road to corruption. And we need to call it where the evidence takes us.
I will say this. McDougal has been very helpful to us a lot of different times.
Yes. Of late, I've been very
He's been very, very helpful.
Yeah.
And he's always been a good man to me, and he's always kept his word with me in a lot of different things. You know, people have told me things about him, and they've told me things, you know, that try to make me not like him and stuff, you know, but I go off of, have you treated me? How have my dealings with you been? And when I deal with you, you know, there's certain things that someone's going to do that make them untoward to me. And I've never had that with Kevin. Yeah. And so as long as he continues to help the Woolies like he's been helping them, that's fine.
You're saying he has?
Oh yeah, he's helped them.
Tell us what he's done, because he needs to get.
I would say he's helped them more than almost anybody in that district as far as lawmakers have, connecting them with DHS people. Now, will I say, does he need to do more? I mean, you got all this energy for Richard Glossop, and Richard Glossop's from Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, can we get some energy for that for the Woolies?
Yeah.
But, helping's fine, but yeah.
In fairness to Kevin, when I saw him butting up in the courtroom with Elliott, it was actually 2 months after the death of little Elijah. Mm-hmm. So things may have changed, and a lot has changed with Kevin.
Well, we hear things. We hear that and this is just speculation. Doesn't mean this is true. So I'm about to say something that's speculation, but we have it on somewhat good authority that, there are people from Wagoner County who are in law enforcement who have this file that they like to go around and show lawmakers. So, and this file contains pictures of Elijah and him deceased, and different autopsy pictures of his body. And they like to show people this
for shock value.
When people are kind of coming over to our side, the side of justice. There shouldn't be a side. We're on the right side. So when people are coming on the side of saying, treat this family fairly and treat them as if they're innocent, because that's what the eyes of the justice system sees them as. Mm-hmm. They come around with this file full of these pictures saying, look at this baby. Mm-hmm. There's no way that something didn't happen to this baby.
And it was mainly, did the autopsy show SID? Sudden infant death syndrome?
I don't think that the autopsy, the thing about the autopsy is so strange because it was done by a medical examiner that wasn't licensed.
Yeah, the Tulsa medical examiner was not accredited.
This is something that was refuted by Dr. Block, Dr. Schmidt, and one of the doctors is out of Detroit, and he's done,
he's the foremost authority in child autopsies.
Yeah. And they both essentially said the same thing. And just to coalesce what they said down, that there's nothing here that shows that. So if you that shows abuse, that shows a kid was murdered, that shows any of the things that this person at the ME's office said that happened. So what you're left with is an instance where if you just see a picture and you don't know what you're looking at, I don't know what I'm looking at when I see a dead body. When I was in the Army, I was in the Army 10 years, and I can tell you half the bodies I saw, they all looked the same to me. I couldn't tell whether or not the guys were murdered or not. It looked bad, but I mean, you can't judge it just layman's off a body.
Yeah.
And if we find out it's true, we will expose it, and that is defamation of the highest order. Like Money said, the people that show those dead bodies of Kobe Bryant when he was in that helicopter accident, the Los Angeles, they got sued for hundreds of millions of dollars for that.
Yeah.
You better hope we don't find out that this is true and we don't find evidence, because I'll make sure we bankrupt that department over there in Wagoner County. We will expose that to the world.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think tell us again, how can we see it today?
SavingClayton.com is where you can see it. And also, we will be showing it in Oklahoma City at Ecclesia, their Oklahoma City church. We'll be showing it there. We'll be showing it in churches around the state, of course. Mm-hmm. And we'll also be showing it May 4th at Circle Cinema in Tulsa.
That's a historic theater in central Tulsa, Kendall Whittier district. Yes.
Yeah. We've already played it there twice. Mm-hmm. No, actually we weren't showing there. We sold out. We played it in Broken Arrow at a theater out there, and we sold out there twice. And we're going to bring it back to Broken Arrow Theater. But the date we have right now is the 4th of May at Circle Cinema.
You don't know which theater in Broken Arrow?
Broken Arrow. I forgot the name of them. But we don't have a date for that one yet. When we get a date, because we have two that are trying to do it. Oh. So we're trying to figure out, do we want to do both or do we want to do one?
There's only two there. Cinemark.
There's three. Warren. The small one is the one we showed it at. I forgot the name of them. But
there was Circle 8 down there at 101st and Elm for years. It was a budget theater.
But the main thing is that, we have this date, and we also have a deal where we if you can get 10 or more people together in a room and you're somewhere in the state of Oklahoma, I will come to wherever you're at and I will show it to your group for free, 10 or more people.
Yeah.
And
especially a Wagoner County group.
Especially the groups, churches especially. Political groups, I don't care. You got 10 people in a room, you want me to come out there, let me know, we'll work out a date, I'll come out there. All I ask for is that you pay for my gas to come out if you're far away.
The reason I say this, if you are a constituent within the district attorney Jack Thorpe has authority over your freedom, those people need to hear it, especially because what happened to the Woolies can happen to anyone.
Oh, it absolutely.
And then anybody within the jurisdiction of Sheriff Elliott need to know.
Yeah.
This is what happened. And
You're
then
in danger.
More broadly, anybody under the Oklahoma Department of Human Services, Child Protection, all of us in the state, we need to know what can happen to us.
We have a special link for people that work at DHS. And if you work at DHS and you'd like to see this movie, definitely reach out. You know, you can go to the savingclayton.com website and find a way to email us through there. Or you can go to Kevin at redrivercreativemedia.com. Email me there. And if you work at DHS, you're welcome. I'll give you a thumb drive. I'll give you 100 thumb drives, and you can pass it out to that whole office, and everybody in there can see it.
Or a state legislator.
Yeah.
You and I were talking about
yeah. Oh, yeah. That. State legislator is open. You know, we're going to be going up to the Capitol. Good. And we got.
He's reaching into his satchel.
We have, if you can see this, we have 300 of these here thumb drives, and these thumb drives contain the movie, they contain the trailer, and they also contain artwork and information and everything else. It's all on one neat little thumb drive. And what we're going to do is, to Jack Thorpe and all the other folks out there in Wagoner County, we're going to make you famous. We're going to make sure that everybody in the state capitol that is in a place of authority has one of these thumb drives in their hands, and they can plug it in their computer, because we're just that way. Yeah. We just want everybody to see it. Our mission is to make sure every single, and I can tell you right now, we have intermediaries going to the Attorney General of this state. We've had intermediaries go to the governor. Yep. We've had intermediaries go to some of the Congress people.
You got the governor's dad to come out and pick it with you.
Okay. All right. You got me on that one.
Oh, man. You know, the jail
we'll make sure that everybody in the everybody in the federal delegation, everyone at the state level, statewide office, and everyone from House reps to state senators is going to see this movie.
Now, I wasn't joking.
We're going to make sure everybody knows.
One of the prominent interviewees in this is the governor's dad.
Yeah, the governor's dad is in this documentary.
He did a great job.
The governor's dad is in this documentary, and he was blowing the lid off this thing.
Oh, yeah.
And so for the people that act like this is just a bunch of goofballs, you know, with their cameras running around, we are goofballs with cameras, but we also have legitimacy because, you know, we have all these prominent people that are willing to get behind us.
Well, you know what? That may be another reason you can't get any of these people on the left on your side. You got the governor's dad in your video.
Yeah.
I know.
And he's a gem, too. He's a warrior.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Oh, no. You can tell he comes from a good family. Hey, let me ask you, though. Okay. I think if you don't get it yet, people, then I don't think you're going to get it. Okay. And can you give them the website one more time, just slowly, so everyone
The website is savingclayton.com. That is savingclayton.com.
And your general website, Red River?
redrivercreativemedia.com.
Okay, great. So now, do you have any other projects that you're working on that you can tell us about that are hatching?
We have probably
devious
6.
Mind of yours.
We have 4 projects we're working on.
Oh, see,
one of them is top secret. That's the one I told you guys about before. A little bit of a murder mystery.
Oh, you mean about
out of Tulsa?
And Eddie, beyond that, when his wife Janelle gets an issue that's really got her worked up,
grabs it,
she will put down.
Well, I can tell you the first project. This is Janelle's project.
Okay.
And Janelle's project is isn't it the working title right now is Detransitioners.
Yeah.
Detransitioners.
That's a very hot topic.
You have to remember, every story I talk about here, every project these are Oklahoma stories. These are going to have Oklahoma people in it, and it's going to be things that are happening in Oklahoma right now. So
in Oklahoma, we've got people that are trying to detransition.
We are gonna be interviewing people that have already detransitioned.
They've already detransitioned,
and we'll also be talking to some folks. We're still like in the planning phases where we're trying to figure out, all right, what does you coming in look like? You know, where do you want to? You know, how we work out the details of the people that are the subjects. So we're gonna talk to lawmakers. We're gonna talk to actual detransitioners. We're going to talk to people who are activists in this. And if you don't know what a detransitioner is, these are folks who were transsexual, who went from a male to female to male, and they realized that, oh my gosh, there's something up with this, and they switched back because it wasn't what they thought it would be. And some of them didn't switch back. Some of them got so far along with the hormones and things, or the testosterone, that they can't switch back. It's just done. That's what they are now. And they're advocates against these things.
They're the highest suicide rate is those who realize, God, I screwed up.
And we got some big names that are coming on board for that. And also the second project we have is a little more lighthearted, and it's about barbershops. And I don't have a title for it yet, but we're going to interview some of we hope to interview some of the biggest barbers in this state. And we're going to talk to them because
big barbers in the state.
Oh yeah.
Other than like sport cuts, or
Well, what I can tell you is that they're on the move, but the thing is, there's something special about these mom and pop barbershops, because our premise of the story is that the barbershop is the last real social place.
Town square.
The social town square. We don't have those no more, where men can get together. They can mentor other men. People can get, and they can learn about the community. Who knows more about that community than that barber? And so we're going to talk to barbers from around the state, some big fancy ones where they got a lot of money, and some of them small town, some guy in their backyard in the middle of nowhere, on a dirt road, cutting a guy's hair in his front yard.
Really?
That's what we're going to do.
Wow.
So we're going to go across the whole spectrum. We're going to figure out, what is this? What is special about this? And why should this last? And can we automate this? Can we build an AI system? Can we build a computer program? Can someone from Silicon Valley control this? No, they cannot.
An AI barbershop.
There's something special about two people sitting together and giving them a haircut and talking about their problems and how they feel about things going on.
Got a robot.
And so we're going to try to tell that story. And it's going to be freaking awesome.
And anytime you've got something, Kevin, can you come back, call us, set up when you got something?
I just want to say that one sounds. It's weird how that one really has me hooked.
It's fun.
I want to say. I know it
fun?
is. But I have to ask the question. Okay, when you think barbershop, you think of the movie Barbershop, right? Yeah. So are we talking black and white barbershop?
Oh, it's going to be black and white barbershop.
See, in the white community, are there still the personal, other than the sport cuts
very deep.
Really? There's still a lot of white barbershops.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
And then you got your high-end barbershops, and I know Clay Clark owns one of them, one of the biggest ones in the state, At least I think he does.
Yeah. And, he lost a lot of money during COVID on that, too.
Oh, he did?
From what I hear.
That's amazing. It's probably one of the best bars. And if he's watching now, then Clay, definitely, I love to interview you to figure out the business, because I want to talk to people about the economics behind barbershops. And I'm going to talk to some young entrepreneurs, white and black, and talk about, how do you build an empire in this barber business? I have a female barber that I'm going to talk to, and she's building her empire right now. And so it's an interesting topic, and it's also a business that relies a lot on cash. So, you have a lot of people who are having issues with a lot of different financial issues, a lot of different people with child support issues, just to be honest. They're dealing with an all cash business. And so how all these things come together to kind of form this community known as the barber.
Okay, so which brings me to another thing. Speaking of cash and business, how are you guys making it? I mean, how do you derive your income? Because I know this stuff isn't cheap. Your equipment, your editing, and all that. So do you live based on support? Donations?
It's a little bit of everything, like we'll do. I know right now we have we're spinning up a nonprofit, and that's going to be something we're going to be talking about in the future, to where, because this is what we saw. This is the economics. When you pull it back 10,000 foot view, the amount of views that we got coming in on the videos, to be honest, really isn't a lot. Yeah. It's not enough to monetize. It's not enough to bring in advertisers. It's not. You need tens of thousands of views. You need tens of thousands of views.
Yeah.
But if we can go into a place like, the congressional district, talking about the one, the primary between Josh Burkeen and Avery Fricks. Mm-hmm. You know, we had people, whistleblowers coming to us talking about Avery Fricks and all this crazy stuff. And so we go up to Muskogee to interview some folks, and we end up putting together a little medley that I think ended up helping to sway the vote, you know. But the thing is, you look at that video, the video only got like 1,000 views on it, but those 1,000 views were people in that concentrated in that area, in that district associated with that story. You move the needle. Yes, you don't have to get 20, 30,000. No, we don't have to do that. Oklahoma, we're small. Mm-hmm. So if you're talking about these small issues, you don't need but 500 people to watch a video that are activated, right, that are voters,
but you
that
might
are going to move the needle.
That.
No, we couldn't. Well, that's what we're going to do with the nonprofit is we're going to be able to go to people and we're going to say, in the vein of James O'Keefe, you'll be able to give money to us, and we'll be able to do investigative stories on things that are important that are happening in Oklahoma. And you'll be able to have a tax, you know, of course, the tax incentives with giving towards something like that. That's a better way to do it than saying, going to a business and saying, hey, because it really doesn't make sense anyway. So you go like to a place, say if we went to your business and we said, hey, give us some money and we'll advertise on the next investigative store we're doing. That's kind of clunky because it's like now your name's associated with this crazy thing. It doesn't make sense.
And here's
it doesn't make sense.
Soonerpolitics.org, my website platform. I don't sell advertising. Now, Google actually monetizes a little bit, but so they have to place their ads with Google, and Google puts them on the site. Yeah. Because I don't want some politician to heavily advertise directly to me because I know me. I know it'll affect whether I pull my punches when I have to go after that politician.
Well, the second thing is that we do offer subscription. You know, we're teamed with Project 46, and we have a subscription model.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's important. We need to have that, and people need to be able to subscribe and see some of our content, like Saving Clayton. This money goes towards funding Project 46, and that's a part of that. But we're going to have that nonprofit component to make it a little bit easier for people just to give high dollar donations and stuff like that.
And that's what that's what you do for your supporters, is you're making it tax exempt so they get a little bit of relief. They don't have to pay taxes. But that shouldn't stop a concerned Oklahoman from supporting you right now. Yeah. You know,
we have to build an economy around this. And I tell people that all the time. They say, well, why don't you just make this video free? Because then it's worthless. You need to understand that. Yeah. If you're offering something for free, or you're doing service for free, your services are worthless. Yeah. We have to build an economy around this. People will pay 10, 15, 20, 30 bucks. If Disney comes out with some new movie, or Amazon comes out with some new movie, or Netflix, you'll go give them $10, $15. Why not give us $10 a month? Why not give us $15 to watch a movie? It's only one movie. It's only $10 either for stuff that you want to see. So we have to be able to build economy around these things, because we can do one Saving Clayton. We can do a documentary like this exposing DHS, and I can spend all the thousands that I spent, and Miles spent thousands. We all spent big money. We're only going to do it once. We can't do it no more after that. So we can expose them once, and we can go on about our business because we can't afford to do it no more. Or people can pay for the movie and happily do it and say that this is nothing compared to what y'all put into it. And then we can expose them again. And we have one more project too before we were going to put out this year our dark money documentary, but we're going to probably hold off on that till next year. And this is a story that, where we lay out all the different roads that lead to a lot of this dark money coming into the state of Oklahoma. And we've managed to track back some of this money coming from out-of-state entities, and we've tracked down some of the states they've come from, corporations.
For people who don't know, you're talking about campaign finance.
Campaign finance, gotcha. Yes.
That's referred to as dark money because it comes from a third party, which is supposed to be spent independent of the campaign themselves. Yeah. And when they're an Oklahoma group, then they're under the oversight of our state ethics commission. So what many of them are doing is incorporating in another state where they don't have anybody to answer to here.
We've traced some of this stuff back, and we don't have it. It's not firmed up yet. Yeah. Some of the stuff's firmed up, but we think some of these things are coming from utility conglomerates. We think some of this stuff. No, we think all this stuff because we don't know, because this stuff is dark. You could legitimately have a company in China fund campaigns in Oklahoma and you wouldn't know. And that is legitimate. That is a fact.
But at the same time, Christian Coalition, NRA, there's plenty of great groups that are third-party advocacy, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, we don't have a problem with that.
Okay, we just kind of want to know, okay, who are you people?
Listen, the thing is, the way the founders, the founders looked at, campaign and, money and campaigns and stuff, people say, oh, well, it's just free speech. It's free speech. That's fine. It's free speech. But if you got $300,000-$400,000 to get your favorite dog catcher elected and you're doing it with dark money, that's a heck of a lot of free speech. That's the equivalent of using a megaphone. Well, so you mean to tell me the founders said that you can have a megaphone in the dark and no one can see who you are, and you can be the loudest voice rumbling through the state and you just get to stand in the dark being that loud? I don't think so. I don't think the founders envisioned foreigners having the possibility to control our elections as free speech. No, that's a suicide pact. They did not say they wanted that.
$40 million.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No. We can't have that. No.
Yeah.
Listen, Kevin. Wow.
Yeah.
I think this last 10 minutes was as good as the first 50. Yeah. So, we're going to have you back. We'll have you back.
I want to come back.
Yeah, this will be good when you get a little further into it. And that dark money, all of them are going to be good. But, man, that dark money one ought to be, when you get a little more on that, we'll definitely be looking forward. But listen, Red River TV on Facebook if you're looking for our videos. So right now, people can't, if they want to just send money and support you guys, there's no way of doing that right now.
Oh yeah, there's a way.
Okay, well thank you. Let's just get to it, because seriously, listen, we need to support people like this. We need, and this is homegrown. We're not sending money to Texas. We're not sending it to DC, to Kansas, or Florida. This is Oklahoma.
So right now the fastest way is we tell people, you want to buy us a cup of coffee, you can Cash App us at Red River Media. It's $ Red River Media. And you can buy us a cup of coffee. We've had people give us, and it just kind of helps encourage us and to keep us going.
$5, $10, $20. If you don't have Cash App, get Cash App, by the way. No Venmo.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Don't do Venmo. Don't do, what's the other one?
We got Venmo haters in here. Oh, my God.
PayPal.
Oh, yeah.
No, PayPal's horrible.
It's related. It's related to PayPal.
Yeah. I use them all because I got customers that use them all.
I'm forced to use them all.
But Cash App is so quick, easy, simple.
It is.
It'll take it right out of your check. I mean, you don't have to put any money in. You tie your checking account to it. And you just say how much, and you have the person or the organization listed, how much, you push a button, boom, it's instantly in their account. It comes out of your account. It's done. It's safe. It's secure. Trust me. I do it. It's a worthy enterprise, because I want to see organization. We've got to fight back. 2024 is coming.
Yes.
Okay? 2024 is coming. It's organizations, and it's not just the national. We've got local things coming up that we've got to fight. Okay, local races, Oklahoma races that are coming up, and we've got to start educating and fighting against all of this dark money and light money that's going to be coming to try to take Oklahoma back. They're going to try to turn Oklahoma blue, people.
They're turning our cities blue.
Yeah, the city's already right, and we've got to start fighting back. Okay, so anyway, that's what I want.
I want to say, if you're looking for Kevin, it's Kevin Batts, Batts.
Yeah,
and I want to say this: I've known Kevin for probably 8-9 years. Right, fellow blogger, solid, and Janelle, solid folks. I'm just telling you, if you can't get along with Kevin, it's probably you. Okay, Kevin's a great guy to get along. So I just need you to know he's not just some fly
by
show.
Well, we've been working behind the scenes. Me and David, man, we've been rolling. Yeah. You know, we were the trio. He had his blog. We had our blog, Red River Chronicle. And Matthew Vermillion had his blog.
Yeah.
And then we got the other, I forgot his name.
Well, we had a
bunch of blogs.
I was up to about 80, and then you created
together.
an app early
Yeah,
on.
I made the app, and that blew up in my face. But whatever, you know, we try things.
Yeah. But yeah, and, you know, so I'm just really excited about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you for making the trip.
Yeah, and Dave invited Kevin to come in, and I said, yeah, let's do it. And I walk up to the door, and I see this brother out there, this black guy, and I said, where's Kevin?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So, no, we never met.
That's true.
But it's a pleasant surprise. I'm always excited to meet fellow brothers in the Lord and brothers in the conservative movement. And although he's not quite as conservative as me.
Oh my word! I need a chance.
Okay.
I gotta
I'm not
come back
either.
to prove how much more. I'm the most conservative person in every room I'm in.
Kevin is one of these guys that's so far right, he's back to the left again.
Oh my gosh!
He's got full circle. See, these are the things I like. I used to do with Pat Campbell. This is what I used to love to poke the bear with Pat Campbell. Man, you're so far right, you're over on the left again, man. You know, but no, we're gonna have fun next time you come back.
Yeah.
But Kevin, no, seriously, it's really a pleasure meeting you and hearing. And I am really, really, truly, I'm not kidding. I think this is one of the most exciting interviews we've had, and we've got to. I want to help these people down in Wagoner County, and if there's any way we can do that, and you can do that, please help. Please help out at home, and also for these future projects. We've got to start supporting our new groups. We can't just count on Glenn Beck and Newsmax and we've got to start. We got to start grassroots. We got to start from the bottom and building up a new generation and start taking it from the roots and take over our cities, our counties, and our states. Okay? God bless you guys. Kevin, thank you again. And we're going to go ahead and
get to a break.
Go to a break.
All right.
All right, we're back.
Who is that?
Idle Cure.
Oh, yes.
Idle Cure, or as they used to say, I don't care.
And what record label were they on?
Frontline.
Okay. Who is that?
Who is Frontline?
What record label did you have?
Oh, ours was Salt Incorporated.
Okay, so that's right.
Which meant salt. It contains salt. It's a fight. It's rather than the corporation, but it incorporates salt. That was the idea.
Yeah.
That was I came up with that.
Yeah.
And then my son used it for his food consulting company, Salt Inc.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Salt Incorporated. So he, of course, now he's changed it to. Well, he went from there to Salt Food Group, and then now it's SFG. Okay. As he's grown, it's grown, so, yeah. It's like, now it's become Dust in the Wind.
There you go. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Do you know who wrote that song?
Dust in the Wind? Carrie Livgren.
No.
Oh, who?
I knew I'd get you. David Hope. David Pope. Yeah, he's the bass player for Kansas. It was Kansas. You were close.
Well, yeah. But all those guys are from Topeka.
Yeah, right.
Got to see Carrie when he had AD later on up in Chicago at the Cornerstone Festival.
Yeah, and David, he actually he has an interesting testimony too. He got saved because of Carrie Livgren,
right?
And Carrie used to he used to witness to him on the bus.
Yeah. One of my favorite albums of all time actually was Kerry Livgren's solo project, where he brought in all-stars from all through the record, the music industry. And he had Ronnie James Dio singing a couple of songs, the guy from Black Sabbath. And he recorded.
Well, he started his own group, remember, named Dio.
Okay, yeah. But anyway, Ronnie James Dio had just signed to take over the lead singer with Black Sabbath, and he found out, Kansas wants, I'll do it. And, it was great. In fact, Milo and LaFleur sang on that album, Whiskey Seed. One of the greatest, Seeds of Change, if you ever look for it. Yeah. Great. Oh, Philharmonic. And Kerry is just such a good arranger.
Oh, yeah. I've seen there was a recent, what do you call it, a YouTube video. Mm-hmm. And Kerry, he's not in real good shape.
He had a stroke about 10 years ago.
Yeah, but they brought him out. But Steve Walsh was back.
Mm-hmm. In fact, their album Somewhere to Elsewhere was all written and produced by Kerry Livgren and in 2003. And then I went to see them over at Frontier City. They played right after that. And Kerry would sometimes join the group, but mostly he was done with touring, Kerry himself. Yeah.
In fact, it's really funny. This is the extra stuff you get. We throw out there for you sometimes, but I got to meet and know John Elefante.
Oh, yeah. What a singer.
Right, who became the lead singer of Kansas after Steve Walsh left.
Yeah, for a period. It was kind of the mid-'80s.
Right, yeah, towards the end, yeah. Late.
But then Walsh came back.
Yeah, right, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
it wasn't the end.
Yeah.
Before the reunion stuff. Before the reunion, the actual, he did Vinyl Confessions.
Mm-hmm.
But John's a great singer, but
and a good man.
Oh yeah, it was great. But anyway, it was so weird because when you get to meet these people in different circumstances, like I met John at my friend Mark Ambrose from Idle Cure at his house, barbecuing. We're just sitting in, so John drops by, and so we're all sitting in the backyard, just sitting around the barbecue grill, just shooting the breeze and stuff. So you get to see a different side of people, But it's just it's just weird. He's in shorts and flip flops and t-shirt, and we're all sitting there, and I meet him as John, and he meets me as Eddie, and he's no, but when you think about it, here's the lead singer of Kansas, and they're still doing shows with 50,000 people in arenas and stuff, But he hated every minute of it.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah. He just wasn't cut out for it. He hated touring.
Oh yeah.
Hated the touring. And I never understood it until this last December.
Really?
Yeah, and I think you remember I went to see my son. For those of you that don't know, I have a son who's the vice president of player development for the Florida Panthers NHL team.
Hockey team. Professional hockey team. By the way, they made the playoffs. Yeah.
They're down 2-1 against the Montreal. Toronto. No, it's a Montreal. Is it Toronto or Montreal?
Okay.
I think it's Toronto. Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Boston Bruins. Boston Bruins, who set a record. They just slaughtered everybody.
Historic team.
Yeah, first place. They're in first place anyway, and the Panthers just snuck in to the playoffs. But it's the playoffs right now for the Stanley Cup. But anyway, so
last December.
Thank you. Thank you, Dave.
I tether him to reality.
Thank you, Dave, for getting me back. My dementia is.
I want to hear the rest of the story.
Okay. Well, yeah. So the Panthers have this father-son deal.
Yeah.
So, they decide to have all the fathers join the team for a week.
Okay.
So I joined them in Well, it was New York City, actually, yeah. So
weren't you also in Philly?
Yeah, I went to Philadelphia first to see my aunt and my cousin. And so then I go up to New York. So we're staying in this big 5-star hotel. And, you know, it's unbelievable. You know, you've got the breakfast. Filet mignon at breakfast. Now, can you imagine? I mean, no, seriously. They've got, that's just one station.
Oh.
You know, and you got, I mean, it's like, and you got chefs sitting there fixing, you know, your eggs, how you want them, your pancake, your crepes, your whatever you want. Okay?
The only sad thing about starting breakfast with filet mignon,
it's downhill.
The rest of the day is downhill.
I guess. So anyway, we did that, you know, and then, you know, so anyway, the guys get up, have breakfast, and they go work, do a morning workout, come back, probably go back to sleep, and then in the afternoon, they go back to the arena early and get suited up and then warm up for the game. And so, you know, but, you know, so this is the life, and, you know, and then you got lunch and then dinner, then the game. So the next day we had a day off there in New York City. The hotel we're at, I can't remember the name. It was a big 5-star hotel. I walk out around the corner, look, and there's where the Trade Center was.
Oh,
right
sure.
there. I mean, you know, I walk out the door.
No, I know that neighborhood. I was there last summer, the same neighborhood.
I'm on the Hudson. I look out my window. There's the Hudson River. I go around the corner, and there's, you know, thousands of people out there. You know, and
the reflecting pools.
The reflecting pools and all of that. But anyway, so I had the day off there, you know. And so then spent that there, and then went out to dinner. Everybody went out to dinner that next morning. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. That was the day we arrived. Yeah, and then the next day we had the day off, and then that's what it was. And then the next day they played the game. So from there then, went to the game, had our bags packed, went to the game. The game played. We get on a bus. We play New Jersey Devils.
Yep.
And so they you get on the bus, police escort.
That's nice.
So New York traffic, but it's like the Red Sea party.
Yeah.
Because you got the cops out ahead of you, you know.
And everybody despises you because they don't have an escort.
And I mean, these cars are just partying and here come these buses, 2 buses, you know, and you're just cutting through the traffic. It's like there's no traffic jam at all. In New York City, it's like, you know, Friday evening rush up, you know, it just, and you're just cutting through, and these drivers are just, man, this big old bus, you know, driving through. Get to the arena, boom, they play the game. You get done with the game, throw your stuff back. I mean, leave a lot of stuff on the bus. The rest of it you throw back on. Get on the bus, takes you straight to the airport. You get on this charter plane, which is all first-class seats.
Yeah.
There's no second class. The whole plane is first-class seats, right? They got a buffet on the plane, right?
Yeah.
Lobster sandwiches, steaks, and you know. Here's the other funny thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm supposed to be telling all this. They're giving away. I won't tell what airline it is. That way they don't get in trouble.
There you go.
So you got. So anyway, there are no rules. You know, like, ladies and gentlemen, please put your seat backs, tray tables up in the upright position. No. You know.
Yeah. Yep. It's called charter, flying charter.
You know, as the plane's taking off. You know, and they have flight attendants, but they don't attend anything. You know,
well, they're not the boss of you.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so anyway, you take off. You know, hour later, you're in Boston. You know, you took off from John F. Kennedy, and I guess it was LaGuardia, and when I was airport, and then we're in. Next thing we're in Boston, you know, and you get out, and then same thing. And then you're in another big hotel, and you get out, go straight to the hotel, go straight to your room.
Hold on here, you missed part of it.
Your suite.
you don't have to go through the commercial air gates and the TSA checkpoints.
Oh, yeah, right. No.
None of those metal detectors and, yeah.
That's true. I didn't even think about
See,
that.
that's another thing you get.
And it's funny watching guys, they got the big, you're in a 757, you got the big cargo thing.
Yeah.
Like normally you got the baggage guys. Well, here, the guys just get off the bus and they're throwing their bags they're throwing it under the plane like they're throwing it on the bus. You know, like on a high school team, you throw the kids off.
Yeah, and the bus is right there in the tarmac, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's none of this going way to the far end of the airport parking.
Oh, no. It's it's the charter part of the airport.
Yeah.
So then, again, you go get your private, your suite, and again, I mean, after we get this, I was just, I didn't like it.
Why is that?
It just wasn't real. I couldn't, I was thinking, man, if I'm a player, I get up, I go eat breakfast, I go practice, I come back, I go take a nap, eat, go back, work out, maybe eat something, and then play a game, get on the plane, then I take off,
You're living in a bubble, right?
Yeah,
That's
it's almost,
essential.
and it's not just the hockey. I was thinking, because it's the same thing, NBA, NFL. It's exactly. I mean, that's how they do it. That's how the teams do it when they travel. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the players, they're all used to it. I mean, it's their life. You know what I mean? It's their life. And that's how. But it's just getting used to that style. And I mean, the food it's all great food, but to me, after a week, I'm ready for a Big Mac.
Yeah.
Or some ramen.
No,
I mean, just for some
that.
regular food, and just, I don't know. It just, after I was thinking how, after, I can see how Hollywood people, it's like a friend of mine told me years ago, this was dealing with Michael Jackson and Elvis Presley. People say, oh, Michael Jackson's crazy or Elvis was nuts or they're not there. And he said, you try living in a hotel or in a house all surrounded by security all your life and all, and you try to stay normal.
Yeah, exactly. Fact is, Taylor Swift right now is probably one of the most predominant, her concert tour. My daughter-in-law's been to like 2 of them so far. Is getting ready to go on to another one, I think, in Denver. I saw a video on social media of just to get her through and into where she has to go on stage. They had this great big equipment cart that's 8 foot tall by about 4 by 6, and she's inside of it because with 60,000 rabid fans.
Oh, that's how they got her into the thing.
That's Sneaker. And then all of a sudden, they open the door and she pops out in her full stage performance attire and everything. And that's such a bubble to live in. And sometimes it's so isolating. Yeah. And so you were talking about the bands and the singers that hated to tour, and that's what you're getting back to.
Thank you.
On this. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. No, that's right. And I was using this as an example of how John hated that lifestyle.
John Elefante.
And it was the second one because Joe English. You remember Joe English? For those of you that don't know who Joe English is.
Well, no, Joe was with the Eagles. Steve English.
No, you're thinking of Joe Walsh.
I'm sorry, Walsh. Yeah.
Joe English was the drummer.
Oh, yeah.
For Paul McCartney.
McCartney Wings, yes.
And then he became a Christian and had his own band, Joe English Band.
Yep.
One of the greatest. Oh, unbelievable! Great singer, drummer. I don't know how he did it. He would have his mic over his head.
Yes, I remember that. I saw him in Springfield.
But he could just play the drums, not
and vocal performance while he's doing it
and singing and just it was unbelievable. It was phenomenal how good he was. But anyway, he would tell the story how with Wings. Maybe have I told that story how they would set up. in 3 cities for a U.S. tour with Wings, Paul McCartney and Wings. They would be in San Francisco, I think it was Kansas City or St. Louis, one or two. And then on the East Coast, they were like in Virginia or somewhere. Like it was in the middle of the, between North and South. And then what they would do for the West Coast tour, what they would do, they would fly every day. So if they did a Seattle concert, they would fly to Seattle in the morning and then fly back after the concert. Wow. To the same hotel. Yeah. That way they weren't changing a new hotel every night.
Oh, yeah.
So they would spend a whole week on the West Coast part of their tour.
Yep.
So they would fly to Seattle and back, fly to Portland, Oregon, fly to Las Vegas, fly to L.A., to San Diego.
Yep.
All of these. So they would do all of those cities and then fly into the middle of the country to, say, Kansas City. And from Kansas City, they would do Dallas, Chicago, St. Louis. They might go to Phoenix. They may go to, all of, Denver. I don't know, whichever was closest. But they would do a week of towns there. Then they fly over to the East Coast. And again, but he would tell me, and every morning they would have a limo waiting for them, and they would jump in they didn't do buses, they did limos, and they would get in a limo. And he said and with them, of course, it was room service, their food, they didn't go down to eat. So they would bring them this tray of whatever they wanted to eat, the lobster, the steak, but it would come to their rooms.
Yeah.
And, but he said, halftime they didn't even eat it.
So I got to tell you, is spring of '82. Joe English had left. Paul McCartney Wings started. He had an album tour, and he was fronting for Russ Taff. And anyway, we're at this deal, Evangel College. Some girls had invited some of us Rhema guys that they knew. We were their dates, and. After this concert, which was phenomenal, that was the first time to see, you mentioned the microphone sound. Now they would be using headsets and wireless, right. It would have been easier. But we finished the concert, and next thing on our all-night whole planned out thing that, it was kind of their equivalent of a prom. We're going roller skating. We were hungry, so we stopped by at Taco Bell. And we're inside there ordering. They were like the only ones open. And all of a sudden, here comes in Joe English and, some of the band from Russ. Russ stayed at the bus. But so they're eating late night Taco Bell. That's a big step down from when he was with Wings. But it was great because we just got to talk to him,
Oh, yeah. It's funny that you say that because that does have when I was at Texas Tech, we had this fraternity house, and we were next door to a Burger King. And so we were having a party.
Yeah.
One night, and I'm upstairs in this room getting high with my fraternity brother.
That was Eddie Huff.
Yeah.
Abusing weed.
I think our Facebook is shut off.
Well, you know what? I may have drained the battery.
Anyway.
Okay. Well, we're with you guys.
All right. So anyway, I'm upstairs and I hear one of the girls on a stairway saying something like, "Did you see Stevie downstairs?" Who? Stevie Wonder. He's downstairs. Oh yeah. We just got through dancing with him, and I'm hearing, I'm high, and I'm thinking, wait, am I dreaming or what? And so I get up and walk down there, and sure enough, there's Stevie Wonder in our living room down there just dancing, with these. He had like 3 girls dancing with him at the same time.
Wow.
But it's funny because his song Superstitious had just come out. It was the resurgence of Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
But all the girls wanted to dance with him, so he was dancing with 3 girls at a time. But he happened to be at Burger King. And some of our guys were up at the Burger King and say, "Hey, is there anything going on in this town? What's going on?" He said, "Oh, yeah, there's a party right here next door at this house over here. All right, can I come?" And sure enough, him and his little entourage, and they all came in, and they partied with us.
Yeah.
That was one of those things. I mean, it's just a funny
Can I ask you this for your opinion? There is an issue that our veterans, we spent 20 years at war, right? Afghanistan. And many of these people had multiple tours. And it's not PTSD, but it is a difficulty transitioning back to civilian life from that living on the edge in the forward operating bases. And I'm wondering if this bubble type effect doesn't have similarities when you're living in the bubble.
Yeah.
And how do you break free, or, and sometimes you see movies about, royalty, some British prince, crown prince sneaks off to.
You mean like the guy who just married that actress?
Something like that. But, just to be
bringing
real.
us back to our original discussion.
Yeah. Where were we at?
Yeah.
No, it just, why people don't tour. You don't want to be in that bubble.
No, I don't think that's it. I think there's some people who just don't like it. There's some people who just love it. For example, the Striper deal. Mm-hmm. You take Oz Fox, from Striper.
Okay.
He was either way, one way or another. But you take the Sweet Brothers.
Yeah.
Robert and
Michael. Yeah.
They loved it, but see, they grew up in it.
Oh.
They grew up in it through their parents.
Yeah.
So you get some people that really like it, but then the other ones, they that John Elefante, Joe English.
Oh, Steve Perry. It did become a mental health
right?
deal.
Exactly. You get some people they just don't like that.
Yeah, and Steve Perry with Journey, right?
Yeah. Some people just don't like it, and so I think that's what the difference is in that situation, and that's kind of what started the whole thing. We were talking about John Elefante, and the whole thing of Kansas, getting us all the way back to our original discussion there.
On our way back to here we are now.
Yeah,
I did. I took my son over. He was playing a concert in the park in Enid one day. Well, he was still in high school, in his kind of high school church band, and I'm over at another band's table, and the guy's there. He's kind of solo act. I said, "Oh, from Topeka." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Topeka's got some great legacy of music. That's where Kansas is from." And he says, "Yeah, actually, Kerry Livgren produced this album I'm selling." And I said, "Seriously, how did you get Kerry Livgren to produce your album?" He says, "I was dating his daughter, at least until the until the album got released." I said, "How's Kerry doing?" He says, he bought this old farm and he's raising sheep, but he turned the barn into a studio." But you know what? Some of these people, it's hard to stay grounded, but they really do want to be normal people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Eddie, you mixed it up with
that is exactly right.
Of these people,
they want to be. So many of them want to be just normal people, and some don't. Some want to be more. Some want to be. I just want to be a god.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But some do, and some get thrust into that. And they don't want to, and others, want to be and don't ever make it, and they try to do everything they can, and it ruins their lives.
Yeah,
the pressure or the drive to be
the thrill of it, right? It's addictive.
I just want to be somebody.
Okay, help me out here. This is totally unscripted, folks. Public service.
Everything
Eddie,
is unscripted.
How should we, when we run into somebody that we're just over? What's the way we should conduct ourselves?
Ignore them.
Just ignore them? Not even a pleasant hi, John?
No. I'm joking. Don't ignore them. I've done that. I've twice, a couple times with.
Yeah, you've dissed some folks. I know.
Yeah, I did. I was rude. No. Well, here's the deal. If you look at them, if they give you eye contact back and acknowledge you. Hi, how are you? Mm-hmm. And then keep going. Mm-hmm. Let them initiate the contact beyond that.
Yeah.
if they don't respond to you, if they look at you, and you look at them, they look at you, and they look away, then just keep moving. If they look at, and if you say hi and they say hi, great, you've achieved. If they look like they'd be happy to entertain a conversation, then that's good too. But that's how I would do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how, because I've just run into,
Well, you were promoter for many of these concert tours in Europe, right?
Yeah.
So you saw a lot of this happening.
Yeah.
And you saw how the artists responded.
Yeah. Most of them were pretty nice. They were pretty cool. And well, I'll tell you, even myself, it's weird. Just when I was on the radio, when I was with Pat, I would run into people all the time at restaurants or places, and they recognize my voice.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden, are you Eddie Huff? Oh, you're Eddie. And I would try to always downplay it. I wouldn't try to be rude. I would just downplay it, and a couple of times I would say, "Who?" Because they didn't know.
Okay, so you're messing with them.
I would be messing with them, and I said, I don't know who that is. Who is that? I'm just as straight as could be. Oh, he's on. Oh, wow. Sounds like.
Do you like him? Is he any good?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then my wife, or if my secretary was with me, damn it. And then I had a couple of people got mad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because then they thought I was, that I was
stuck up or something.
Yeah. And I was just playing, with them, and then my wife told me you can't do that to people. Yeah. They just like you said, they think you're being stuck up when I'm trying to just downplay. And then it really is weird because you don't want to get into this. Oh yes, it's me. That, and so you're trying to be humble and play humble, but then you can overdo being humble. I mean, it's just, it's you damned if you do, damned if you don't almost thing, and you're thinking, so, I just got to a point, hi, hi, how are you? And talk to them. I mean, that's the best thing to do. Just, hi, it's me. And then just talk to them and listen to the people for a while, and then that's the way to do it. Yeah,
don't ramble on, right? No gush, right?
Well, yeah, I'm talking about, but as far as the artist, just let the people, hi, just, yeah. And
but if you're someone coming up to them, don't gush, don't ramble on, don't get on your agenda about anything.
Right, especially if they're, if you can tell they're going somewhere, if they're on their way to something, or if they're in the middle of a meal.
Yeah.
There's this one show. I can't remember. It was like a candid camera type of show. and what they did, like, they would get these stars or athletes, and their friends would set them up.
Oh, like Punk'd?
Yeah. That's kind of, and so,
Ashton Kutcher had that.
Yeah,
show.
That was it.
Yeah,
and they had this one with Dirk Nowitzki. Okay. I don't know if you saw it. Dirk Nowitzki's this German basketball player that played for Dallas, the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
Great basketball. Nice. I mean, they talked about he was absolutely the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
So they get this kid. He's probably like 11 or 12 years old.
Yeah.
But you can tell, he's a sharp, he must have been an actor or something, because this kid, he was good. So they get this kid to come in with a basketball to ask for an autograph. So Dirk is with his friend who set him up. The guy who actually set him up is with him. And so they're eating dinner. And so this kid comes in. Oh, you're Dirk Nowitzki. Oh, Dirk, could I get your autograph? He said, oh, yeah, sure. So he signed. So the kid goes away, and he comes back with a baseball, and he comes back with a bat and a glove. And next thing you know, he's got an inflatable boat.
That would be Ashton Kutcher.
and the kids go, and Dirk looks at his friends. What what is with this kid? But he never would say no. He never, and they were just saying, how far would they go until he said no? He never said no. And the kid just kept coming up with all kinds of, I think he came in with a gun, and had him sign the stock of a gun. I mean, it's probably the funniest one I ever saw. But, but the kid just kept coming back, and Dr. Friday said, what is going on? What is with this kid? He never could figure out that this wasn't for real.
See, celebrities actually would hope that they would make it onto that show. That they would be on
really?
Celebrity Punk by Ashton Kutcher.
Oh my goodness!
I tell one story. Shortly after I graduated, a few years after I graduated from Rhema Bible Training Center, Donna Douglas of the Beverly Hillbillies decided to go to Rhema. And everybody there knew Donna, and Ken Hagen Jr. just kind of said, hey, she just wants to be just a student like you, okay? So he kind of gave the lecture ahead of time. Just treat her like any other student. Well,
like this.
Yeah, I know. And now, by this time, she's probably in her 50s, okay? But she still looks like Donna Douglas.
Oh, I imagine.
Yeah. And one day, now I'm a retail manager at a gift shop down on South Lewis, and she happens to come in.
So she was here in Tulsa.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And this was in the later 80s, mid to later 80s. And I remember I just kind of let be, I knew she was there, but I didn't tell the clerks or anything. And all of a sudden I get paid because credit card purchases above a certain amount, they just want to make sure we got the imprint right, because otherwise we didn't get our money, right? So I just, went, checked it over, and I noticed her actual name on the credit card was not Donna Douglas. And so Donna Douglas, I would guess, was probably her stage name.
Right.
Okay, so her legal name is different.
Well, a lot of times actors and actresses had a fake name for doing business and stuff. So when they go out in public, people know, oh, you know that,
Yeah.
So it might have been her real name, but for business deals like that, they use a different. But anyway, either way, I'm sorry.
And, I didn't say anything to the clerk in that. And I said, okay. Do you need help carrying that? She said, I said, okay, well, let me get the door. And I went out. And after we got outside, I said, yeah, I graduated Rhema a few years ago. She said, oh, yeah, and that. And I said, I'll make sure you get to your car safely, and we just kind of left it at that. And then I went back inside and told the clerk that was Donna Douglas. And then they were mad at me that I didn't give them a chance to say hi and how much they enjoyed her show and all that. And but that was the thing. I don't think she wanted that kind of a high publicity.
No, people usually don't. They just want to be normal people, and so I don't know. Some do. I probably have been rude to more people than I've been nice to. I'm talking about famous people.
Yeah.
Fabian was one.
Yeah, you dissed him, didn't you?
Yeah. And the one, though, that I really wish I'd have dissed more is Bill Russell. He was not a nice person.
Really?
Yeah, and I even put it on Facebook when he passed away that, he was not a nice. And then I had several people chime in to say, yeah, he was not a nice person. Yeah. He was a guy that had a lot of notoriety and people. He was pretty much fake. But you saw the guy, people thought, I don't know what his problem was, why he just wasn't very nice. So I don't know.
You one time said your producer at KFAQ, I don't know, it was Annika.
Annika, yeah.
Had mentioned that, you and Pat Campbell would just really mix it up. And sometimes it got pretty intense. As soon as the show's over, you're best buddies. Yeah. And she said it's usually actually the opposite. They'll all act sweet and nice and can't really stand each other, but they just pretend. So what we're seeing on live mic or on camera is a fake. And Bill Russell be one of those? Because he always did nice interviews as far as I know.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because, it was just the weirdest thing that he was just not a nice person. So.
One other thing, and I know we need to get on this. My son was at a
music.
I've got a few news things I would like us
okay,
to
I'll just finish.
But no, please go ahead.
My son was at this kind of a music event he got invited to. I don't know, it was an album release party or something, but it was down in Dallas. And different, people were asked to do certain things on it. And Bill Murray was there. And so for a little bit, he gets to sit next to Bill Murray. The thing about Bill Murray, he's such a notorious person. He'll do whatever he wants. He'll find out some college is having a fraternity party, and he just shows up.
Yeah.
Because nobody says no to Bill Murray.
Bill is just like he is on camera.
Doesn't give a darn who he's going to do what he's going to do.
Yeah, some people, they're like that. Did you ever see something about the zombies? There was this zombie movie that he was in. I wish I could. I wish I remember. Okay. They did two of them, but anyway, he was in the first one, and they end up at his house. These people are fleeing these zombies. These two guys and two girls, and they end up at Bill Murray's house, and Bill comes out, as a zombie, and they shoot him. Well, he wasn't real. He was just made up to look like a zombie. He was pretending to be a zombie. But they killed Bill Murray because he was pretending to be a zombie. It was a funny movie. But hey, listen, let's finish up on a couple of serious things. Elon Musk launched this new rocket.
Yeah, it went boom.
And it was a rocket. I guess that's going to take us to the moon, and I think eventually they're testing to take us to Mars. But it's a SpaceX Starship.
Yeah, Starship is actually what they've labeled it.
Right, the Starship. And but it exploded. Now, it's funny, Mika and Joe and Mika, she was all excited and happy that it couldn't have happened to a worse person or a better person because they hate Elon Musk now because Elon has tried to clean up Twitter.
Yep.
Okay. He's not made it the haven of liberals any longer. He's made it what it's supposed to be, a platform free for everybody to express their thoughts. And the left hates it. And of course, Joe and Mika are, and I don't know if you know this. People don't know this. Mika Brzezinski, which is her maiden name and probably still is the daughter of Zbigniew Brzezinski.
Yeah, a name I can't pronounce. I think
it's Zbigniew. But anyway, are they Russian or Polish? Anyway,
Eastern European of some.
I think I don't know how he ever got to be in the Carter administration. I think he was in the Carter administration. That era, and I think he never quit being a communist. Okay. And his daughter, I believe, is a chip off the old block.
Yeah.
She literally hates this country. And she shows it every morning with Joe Scarborough. And they're on there making fools of themselves on MSNBC. But anyway, Mika was all excited about Elon's rocket blowing up. Well, the problem is they blew it up on purpose.
Yeah,
they didn't understand that, and it was a designed destruction of the. I don't know exactly why.
It's called a RUD. They on air when his media team said this is what we call a rapid unscheduled disassembly.
A rapid unscheduled disassembly.
Yeah, RUD for short.
Now
that means the rocket blew up.
Well,
this is all about spin, okay? And Elon's people will spin things.
Right, but what I understood later on when they talked to different scientists and other people that they actually planned to destroy it. That they actually blew it up themselves. It didn't. What happened? Here's what happened. Not all of it had apparently several rockets on it. It had several boosters.
Well, yeah. 20 rockets on the bottom stage.
Right. And all of them did not ignite. That's what happened.
Okay.
So because it didn't get all of the stage 1 rock boosters, I guess you would call them, to ignite,
Right.
I think what happened, they were afraid that it could cause severe damage or come down somewhere they didn't want to later. So that's probably why they destroyed it before it could possibly come down somewhere they didn't want it to come.
Right, because they launched in the southern tip of Texas.
Right.
Out over the middle of the Gulf, so they have plenty of buffer here.
Right.
Right. But from what I hear is until they run out of gas on that lower, they won't release it.
Right.
But another report said there was a failure to separate, and that's the reason why they pressed the destruct button.
Okay.
Because they wanted to go further if, in fact, everything was in place.
Right. Yeah.
But they said it was a success because they launched.
Right.
Everything beyond that. That was the minimum they were hoping is a successful launch.
Right. In fact, I mean, it's funny because everybody was cheering and yelling and yay.
Oh, that was his crowd he brought in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But they were all cheering.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure they were cheering the successful launch.
Yeah.
But then they destroyed it. But anyway, it was a win and a lose. In other words, the win was that they actually got it launched because it's the biggest rocket I think that's ever been launched.
Yeah. Bigger than the Apollo series, 7.5s. Yeah.
And so they got it off, but they had to destroy it because they didn't want to have a major catastrophe, even though pieces of it landed in. Apparently, when it blew up, pieces scattered everywhere. Pieces did land on land.
Really? Which state?
I think it was Florida.
Okay.
Yeah. There were some people. They showed people had pieces, chunks of the rocket. If it was me, I'm not giving this back.
Absolutely.
I'm giving this to my grandkids.
That's right.
Yeah, I've got a piece of Elon's rocket.
Mm-hmm.
How many billion are you willing to pay for this? And, which is another thing. So Elon lost that week. He lost $12 billion. After
was
that.
it that much?
Well, no.
Oh.
Not. He didn't lose that much on the. I mean, he lost a few billion on the rocket.
3 is what I heard.
But he lost $12.5 billion in shares on his Tesla.
Oh.
Yeah, because everything is kind of tied in together.
SpaceX, yeah.
Right, and so his stock value. But you know what I saw? A buying opportunity.
That's right.
Do not bet against Elon.
Yeah.
And so the next day I just bought some more Tesla.
Good for you.
Yeah. So that's take that, Mika.
Yeah.
And Joe.
I bought a few shares of Quick Trip Pizza this week.
Quick Trip Pizza. That's good.
Yeah.
Hey, this is one you're gonna love.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Have you heard about the new credit rules, Fannie and Freddie?
I've heard
Fannie
rumors.
Mae,
I haven't studied it enough.
Okay. The Biden administration has come up with a new rule. Okay, you know how it normally works, right? Mm-hmm. The higher your credit, the better
your interest
loan deals you get.
Yeah.
Interest, okay.
Yeah, your terms.
Right. They flipped it on its head.
Oh, yeah.
So now, if you get over a 640, if you have over a 640 credit score, FICO score.
That's a bad score.
Well, yeah.
700 is what you need to really get a decent deal.
Exactly, 720, yeah. So, but if you get over 640, they're going to penalize you.
So you're going to subsidize the folks who are bad credit.
Right. So if you get under 640, you actually get a better rate. But here's the funny thing. These people are so, it just drives me nuts in that people don't see it. But it's only up to $400,000. Mm-hmm. So if you're buying a home up to $400,000, okay, and your credit score is above 640, you're going to be penalized. It ends up right now it's like $40 a month, which is still, I mean, it's $480 a year, and you take over a 30-year mortgage, that ends up being thousand.
480 times 30. You were taking like 15, 18 grand, somewhere like that.
Yeah, more than you're paying than the person who's going to default on the loan anyway. It's the same. They got into the same problem back in the 2008 because they were pulling the same kind of crap, trying to help everybody get into a home. And it was George W. Bush that did it. He fell for it then. It was a Republican.
Congress.
Well, I know, but I mean, he let them. He's the one that talking about everybody getting a home.
Yeah.
And so they went on and fell for it and gave people loans that shouldn't have qualified for them. And so this is what it is. He's trying to help himself get reelected. He's trying to get Democrats reelected.
Yeah.
That's what he's trying to do. And because it's funny where they carved out this under 640, but only up to $400,000.
Yeah.
So if you're buying $1 million home, right?
Right.
You don't get the penalty.
Wow.
$800,000 home. So it's the middle class. It's the middle class again.
So if you're somewhere, basically you could afford in your budget a $300,000 home.
Right.
A $400,000 might actually be a cheaper monthly payment.
Well, a 420, yeah.
Or 420, yeah.
410, 420, right.
But you create these artificial cliffs.
Right.
Where just a little more and everything changes.
Right. Exactly.
Wow.
And so you're going to have real estate agents playing games.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like, for example, let's say you have a home that's appraised at 380. I'll talk to the appraiser. Can you throw another 25 on it? Make it 405. Saving me money. It's not costing me really any more money, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm paying the same amount to get a house for 405 as I am for,
Yeah, and the short-sightedness, because Obama was the same way with Obamacare, because there were cliffs on both ends. If you made below the federal poverty rate, just you're $5 under.
Right.
You went from free health insurance to none.
Yep.
Based on, and then, it tapered down. If you made, let's say, you made $65,000 a year, you might get half your health insurance paid for, but you make $10 more, you get none of it paid for.
Right. Isn't that stupid?
So people would literally quit working at the end of November just to get that free health insurance. You're penalizing people for making $10 too much.
Stupidity. Stupid.
And I have to tell you on this, I was warned. One of my clients was a bank owner, and he told me in 2006, get ready, it's coming, there's a big crash. And he blamed Congress and Bush. He said they're all guilty. They want to raise home ownership from the historic 62% up to 70%.
Right.
He said that's a 10% increase over what it currently is. He said, and those are people who shouldn't have a home. They don't qualify. They are bad risk. And he said the way our mortgage lending is set up, a 10% failure rate will destroy the whole banking.
Oh, yeah. You're going to have another slew of people getting mortgages that can't afford them.
Yeah.
You're going to end up with exactly the same thing. We learn nothing. They learn nothing.
Okay. Now, another thing happened, and we're still puzzled why used cars haven't bottomed out, because the same thing happened with all this COVID stimulus and people buying cars, and then they can't keep making the monthly payments. And there's a whole rash of used cars being foreclosed. Repos,
yeah.
And I don't know why the bottom hasn't dropped out of the used car market. I think some of it is it's still hard to get cars because of the chip makers.
Right, and people are able to buy now new used cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're used, but they may only be a couple of months old.
Yeah.
People haven't had them long enough because it becomes
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing, I've got kids who are really wanting to get a second family, and I told them last year, I said, just wait. Next year, the price will. And now it hasn't, and Dad looks stupid. So.
Hey, staying on that theme with the Biden crime family, the walls are closing in.
I heard.
Yeah, it's starting to happen. We have two, not one, two whistleblowers now. One's not actually so much of a whistleblower. One guy's just coming out. He's a former CIA official. The other is an IRS whistleblower, and they're both coming out to say that the Bidens, and in the one case of the IRS, basically says that Blinken, who is the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, interfered with the election. They basically they lied and they subverted information to help Joe Biden get elected last time. So there's some things are starting to happen, and it's funny because the mainstream media is still not wanting to report on it, but the Democrat Party, the people up at the top, are starting to not want to protect and keep it hidden anymore. I think they realize we can't protect him anymore. Plus, I don't think they want to keep him as president anyway. I think they want someone else.
Yeah.
So Tuesday, next Tuesday, Joe Biden is supposed to announce his candidacy.
Yep.
I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to run. I'm still thinking it's going to be Michelle.
Yeah,
I still think it's going to be Michelle.
And Dick Morris still thinks it's Hillary.
Yeah. I hope it's Hillary. Hillary, I don't think stands as much of a chance as Michelle. Now, we will close with this.
Okay.
The dark horse.
Okay.
The dark horse, who I think should be a real viable contender and should be the Democrat nominee, Bobby Kennedy Jr.
Yeah, that's who I'd like.
Well, look at that. Bobby Kennedy Jr. has thrown his hat in the ring. He has announced formally on Thursday that he will be running for president. Now, I do have to say that he is a friend of my daughter. They're good friends. My daughter loves the guy, thinks he's just a great American, good individual. From everything I've seen and heard, I don't agree with 100% of everything.
No.
I don't agree with everything Dave thinks.
Yeah, he's wrong sometimes, but we love him anyway.
You love me anyway?
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know why? Fake news.
But Bobby Kennedy has announced, and it's funny because everybody Tucker Carlson, by the way, it's funny. The Democrats, the mainstream media, won't play his campaign announcement. They won't play his. They won't play any of his campaign.
Scared to death of him. That's why.
He's a Democrat, and the left-wing media won't acknowledge him. But it's funny because you got Fox News, OAN, Newsmax, all of the conservative media is playing the Democrat Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s stuff. And Tucker had him on, interviewed him, and played excerpts from his campaign rally, and then so did Newsmax. And in both cases, or all the cases, because Tucker did it, then I watched Rob Carson, and then Greg
Gutfeld?
No.
Kelly.
Greg
Yes.
Kelly. Greg Kelly.
Was it Rob Carson or Rob Schmidt?
No. Oh, Rob Schmidt. I'm sorry. Thank you, Rob
Rob Carson's the comedian.
Yeah, the comedian. I love him.
Weekend guy. Oh, yeah. He used to produce all of Rush Limbaugh's comedy stuff.
Did he really?
Spoofs, yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
that's
no wonder. No wonder he's so good. So anyway, Rob Schmidt. Yeah. So anyway, but Rob Schmidt and then Greg Kelly, but all of them have said the same thing. Especially Greg Kelly. He had to keep putting disclaimers. Mm-hmm. I'm a Trump guy. I'm a Trump guy. I'm a Trump guy. But I agree with everything Bobby Kennedy just said. Yeah. He did 3 different, I'm about to play disclaimer. I'm a Trump guy, but I agree with everything. And Bobby Kennedy Jr. has a throat. I can't remember the name of what the
reaction to a vaccine that went bad.
It was a reaction to a vaccine, and that's why he warbles. He warbles when he speaks.
He's got that Katharine Hepburn disorder,
right? But if you listen to him, if you have the patience and are willing to listen, everything he says makes total sense.
His environmental stuff. He goes too far on some of that.
I think but he's not a radical environmentalist. He's
not in the same way, but some of the corporate policy stuff and high regulations, and then the hypocrisy of it. He's for wind farms as long as they aren't off the coast of Cape Cod, which is where his family compound is. No, that really happened. Rush Limbaugh exposed it.
Yeah. I think he's changed on some of that.
I hope so.
Because I listened to the speech.
Okay.
And I think he's finally kind of, in fact, as I recall listening, he's even come down on the environmentalists. He's even started to because there were a couple of things where he nailed. It's like he nailed all of those people saying that it's no longer about the people; it's all about the government.
Yeah,
and other countries. He's very much opposed to our involvement in Ukraine.
Yeah,
he's opposed to definitely the vaccine situation and all of these different things that the government is doing. So, I mean, listen, I'm going to say like Greg Kelly, I'm a Trump guy. I'm still a Trump guy. Okay.
Yeah.
But I do have to say I at least like the fact that we have a Democrat that could and should give Donald Trump a run for it in the same ballpark. I mean, because the Democrats are so far out in outer space right now that if you can't if you can't decide between Donald Trump and Joe Biden or any of the other also rans on that side, something is wrong with you.
Yeah.
Something is wrong.
I like what Reagan said in 94. He was up for re-election against Mondale. He said, never before in American history has the contrast of choice been more clear. And now I'm thinking, that was mild compared to now.
Exactly.
We are such a radically divided nation. It is a very sad thing. I think what McCullough said about the mass platform psychosis that has taken over the left, and they're trying to push it all on the rest of us, that, hey, let's all pretend he's a guy, even though it's a woman with breasts and ovaries and all the other plumbing. We'll just pretend he's a guy.
Or vice
versa. Yeah, and let him compete in the girls' race,
He's got to wear a jock strap, but it's a girl.
Yeah. It's just the insanity. Insanity. Yeah. And, it comes from what happened last generation. As Bill Bennett said, we've raised a generation that worships its feelings and has elevated their feelings to God. So because somebody feels more feminine or more masculine on a particular day, they must be whatever sex.
I think it's in one way simpler. Maybe it's more complicated. I think it's conditioning that's taking place. It's not about what it's about. In other words, so for example, it's a mind conditioning.
Yeah.
So for example, it's Pavlovian.
Okay.
Okay. The old for those who don't know, Pavlov's dog or animal, whatever you want to call it, where you would ring the bell or it brings a stimuli and makes the dog salivate because he associates that bell ringing
conditioned responses
with food.
Yeah.
In fact, I wrote an article. It's still on my podcast. I mean, my blog, the old blog, newblackthought.blogspot.com. It's called Pavlov's Negro.
Ooh.
Pavlov's Negro. And what happened, this was back in 2012 or 14, these neo-Nazis, Aryan Nation, I guess they were called. Anyway, they decided they're going to have a march in Toledo, Ohio. And so they're coming to Toledo, Ohio, so Antifa and got all of the black people riled up, and a few Antifa people got together and got all the black people worked up. And there were 4 of these neo-Nazis. 4.
Just 4.
Okay. And they're out there, standing and doing their thing. And what did the black people do? It wasn't Antifa. They got the black people worked up, and they rioted and burned the black part of Toledo.
Oh, God.
I know. and these Aryan guys, they didn't even have to do anything. They just sat out there in front, stood still, and guy gave a little speech and went home and caused this riot in Toledo. And so I wrote this article, and somehow somebody knew the guy who's the head of these Aryans and sent it to him. And he responded to my
Oh my
thing.
goodness.
He said, "You're exactly right.
Yeah.
It's exactly what we did. That they knew what all they had to do was plan this thing, show up, and these people would respond. And
it triggered them, didn't it?
It triggered. And all they had to do is not show up. I mean, if nobody showed up, you'd have these 4 fools.
Oh, yeah.
4 fools in these, Gestapo outfits or whatever they were, looking like fools, and there's nobody there. Can you imagine that nobody shows up?
Yeah. No, and think about it. Ferguson, Missouri. They get all worked up. They burn the black businesses down. South Central L.A., Rodney King gets beat up. They're going to burn down their own neighborhoods.
Right. But what I'm saying is, even if you have a KKK meeting, how many Klansmen actually show up usually? 5 or 6.
It's like the Westboro Baptist Church. It's one family of maybe 5 people. Yeah.
If nobody shows up, it goes away.
Yeah.
The media shouldn't even show up.
Yeah.
Just ignore them.
Well,
but what happens, and then they, so the people rioted and burned. And so anyway, getting back to my story here, what we're dealing with, okay, it's the same thing here. It's Pavlov's reaction again.
Yep.
And we have got to get to the point where we do not respond like this.
Yeah. No, there are so few actual overt racists in this country. They have to invent them. And then when they find an authentic one, they're such a rare breed, like the Westboro Baptists or the few Aryans in Ohio. They have to make a big deal of it, like there's one at every corner. And then you might be one, sir, and don't know that you are. That's the new narrative. People who don't know they're racist, Yeah, it's crazy.
Hey, one last thing.
Yeah.
One last thing. Larry Elder announced that he's running for president.
Really?
Yeah, he announced as well.
Okay, now we got about 10 or so Republicans.
Yeah, and Larry, That was Thursday night. And, I have to say, I'm not a fan of Larry Elder. Okay.
Well, I liked him in that race against Newsom.
Yeah, but see,
That's all we had.
I just have to say, I think Larry is all about Larry.
That could be.
It sounds good, and I think his documentary Uncle Tom, I think it was well done. It was very good. But other than that, his other stuff, I think a lot of times Larry is too much about Larry.
Yeah. Republicans are going to be meeting in Tulsa State Republican Convention, Oklahoma, in about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yes, they're over at Union High School Auditorium.
You think they'll let us in?
Well, I'm a delegate. So,
good. Well,
yeah.
good.
But
can I come with you like you came with me to the STIT rally?
Yeah, or they'll rent us a table and we could have a fresh black coffee and do actually a show from there since it's on a Saturday.
Oh, that would be good.
Well, why don't we?
That would be. How much is the table?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'll see what kind of deal I can get. They got to pay a lot of expenses, but they're charging the delegates $70.
Really?
That's your fee to be a delegate. Yeah. And but what I wanted to say,
tell them that they need to give us a table, and we'll give them good press.
Yeah, there you go.
Otherwise,
yeah. By the way, Rhonda asked why she didn't get her invite here. I said Eddie said he would call you. You know.
Oh,
and we made the announcement live on our show.
I want Rhonda to come in. I just keep forgetting. Yeah. You're the one that always invites. I haven't invited anybody or disinvited anybody. I just tend to forget.
She didn't have anything to worry about it though. On that election, she won handily. But anyway, I've been to a number of these. The year before a presidential campaign, a lot of candidates will show, and some no-name candidates. People who are self-funded and think they're something or think the nation is so bad off, only they can fix it, even though we've never heard of them. And David Oldham called me last night. Oh. He's got one such person from Michigan coming down, and he says, I said I would tell him about
He's running for president?
He'd love to be interviewed if we do that, hey, listen, it's entertaining if nothing else, Give them their 5 minutes of fame in the microphone and see what they do. But no, we did that in 95. I was working Senator Graham's campaign, and we won the straw poll there. But there were a couple of no names. They got their microphone time, and I don't even remember their names. But they were kind of, I don't know, John Birch kind of guys, kind of off in their own little deal.
Don't disparage John Birch.
But hey, listen, I've worked with John Birch people, Some of my friends have been long time, actually columnists in New American, which is their magazine, and that. But it's that kind of worldview that sometimes brings out people think it's got to be one of us. It has to be a Bircher to save the world,
Right.
And you get some of that, But anyway, we'll see. So that's going on. There are a lot of good things happening. I've been following the school choice, Sooner Politics. I've got an interactive map of the about 200 private high schools or private schools, excuse me,
in Oklahoma.
And I was wrong on something. I called my senator. I corrected. Non-accredited schools will get the same funding under the current language as a homeschooler. I thought they were getting nothing. They will get the same, whatever the benefit ends up. But this is now going to a conference committee. The House and Senate could not accept each other's version, so they're meeting leaders to write one bill, and it gets straight up or down vote, no amendments, and then goes to the governor for signing. I think we'll get it.
Well, good.
Yeah, so that's a good thing happening. And the funniest thing happened at the Capitol, I didn't get a chance to tell you last week. One of my favorite friends in the legislature is J.J. Humphreys from down there by Idabel. And he's trying to help get cockfighting legal again. The roosters, I'm talking about those, And so he had a bunch of them show up, and he even commissioned 50 T-shirts to be printed about their right. It's their birds. And so he printed up 50 shirts that says, "My cock, my choice." And it is the hottest item at the Capitol. The hottest item at the Capitol. And he says, I ain't going to print anymore.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, because some people took great offense to it.
I imagine.
But this is the same guy who wanted to issue licenses for Bigfoot hunting down there because they do their Bigfoot festival.
Hey, is he near... Did you read the story about, man, I don't have the town, where the sheriff...
Yes, McCurtain County.
We're going way long, but we have to cover this.
We do.
McCurtain County, apparently someone recorded the sheriff and the head of the GOP down there, I think.
Might have been his county commissioner, sheriff. There were a couple others. But this was the publisher of the local newspaper, left his recording device there after the scheduled open meeting was done, found out they had a private meeting afterwards, after they locked the doors. And they talked about killing these reporters, including this editor of the newspaper, the owner, his son. They were making plans to execute him and where to bury him.
And they were talking about wishing that they could go back to Jim Crow laws.
Yeah.
You know, here's what's funny. Here's what's funny, people, okay? Talking about executing this individual, that was not the big news. The big news was they wanted to reinstate Jim Crow laws.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, what does that say?
Yeah.
People don't care. Oh, yeah, we don't care about them killing these people.
Yeah.
The big news is they talked about Jim Crow, lamenting that we don't have Jim Crow laws any longer. Which, for those that don't know, Jim Crow laws are basically segregation laws, reintroducing segregation laws and so forth. That they want to make a bigger deal about that because they think that, and not just think, I think they know that will fly more today than murder. I mean, that's how sick Democrats are.
Yeah. Now, right next to that county, Pushmataha County, I was at their county Republican convention back. This might have been 6 years ago. And back then, they literally, for the 12 Republicans that showed up in the county, they said, now, as soon as we get done with this, you need to re-register so you can vote in the primaries. Because all of the local offices, it was all one party. It was all Democrat. Now, this is 8 years ago. Things may have changed since then. In fact, this J.J. Humphreys, I think he's the first Republican ever elected to the legislature from there. That's how old-line Democrat it was.
Right.
And so I would suspect, I haven't checked the party affiliation for the senator, for this sheriff or county commissioner, but the commissioner's already resigned. Now, my friends at the Oklahoma Sheriff's Association have already kicked that sheriff out of their association. So people are stepping up, and of course, Governor Stitt called for all of them to resign. And OSB is investigating this. So, this needs to be more than just resignation.
Oh, yeah.
This needs to be criminal convictions. This is conspiracy to commit murder.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It was sent to me by one of my fraternity brothers who just hates Republicans. He's just rabidly Democrat. And he used it as an example of the Republicans in Oklahoma. He cherry picks that one example when we know that is the heart of Little Dixie down there.
Yeah.
And they were probably Democrats 15 years ago, if not sooner.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, if you don't know the history of, plus, I try to tell him it's actually only about 5 miles from the Arkansas border.
Yeah,
I said they're more Arkansas than they are
and Texas. It's right there in that corner.
It's right in that corner, right?
Yeah.
Arkansas and Texas.
Yes.
So we don't claim them.
Yeah, they're about maybe 10 minutes from Texarkana.
Yeah,
Arkansas.
Right. Exactly.
And and it was the Republican governor that blew the whistle
Yeah.
This hadn't really been, other than the local newspaper did some, but Governor Stitt was the one who actually brought the big pressure on. That's when it made national news, when Stitt called it out.
Good.
So, good things are happening with our new Attorney General that everybody was a big question mark. Gettner Drummond. He's getting some pretty good reviews, and he's calling out some of his predecessors, well, not John O'Connor, but before Mike Hunter. Some of his indictments were purely politically motivated. And one of them against who was the Speaker pro temp, Terry O'Donnell. He said, you know what? I don't think this was good leadership, but I cannot press for criminal conviction of this, especially knowing that it was filed as retribution because people calling out the Attorney General's corruption. He had to leave office when it was found out he was having an affair with a high-appointed agency official.
Right.
So there's a number of those things, and I'm glad to see it happening. I salute Gettner on his first half a year in office.
Yeah,
so
good. Yeah.
So all right,
he'd be a good one for us to talk to.
I think so.
If he would come,
and I have to
we
say,
can do it over the phone. I mean, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, and I did have him come speak to Tara. I tried to. And I found out it was his handlers in the campaign told him flat out, no, not going to do it. And finally, when he went into a runoff, he told his handlers, he says, I am going to start talking to grassroots. And he hired some of his own people, went outside, and he told them, he says, first call you need to make is to David Vann. I got to speak to the Tulsa Republican Assembly. I've stiffed him for 3 months now. So, and he and I talked. I think he's a solid guy. I mean, I'm not 100% endorsing.
Yeah.
But generally, hey, I'll take 80.
Well, I supported him the first time he ran.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did too.
Yeah. So, and then this last time, I mean, I didn't know enough about either one, really. I never looked enough into it. So, all right, David, I think we may want to
hit the send button. Yeah.
Here.
All right.
You like this? You should. Let me see. Uh-oh.
I think we canceled that one.
Did we?
It's not active.
It's not active. That's weird. Okay. Well. All right, everybody. It was supposed to be pay them more.
Yes. Joe got the boost.
Hey, listen, everybody. It's a long show today, but we had a lot to say. I really hope you will support our friend Kevin
Batts
and Red River
TV.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, all the other news. Of course, every time we think we've scooped something, by the time this comes out, there'll be a bunch of more news. Yeah. But it's all right.
Yeah.
Hey, God bless everybody. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.